Hello, and welcome to the IDEO Protocol Metabolism and Weight Management Workshop. My name is Matt Parker, and my business partner Chip Watley and I take a lot of pride and joy in transforming lives daily in our certified clinics. So our program is not only about weight loss, but more importantly, it's about overall metabolic health. We run a program where we help you learn a new dietary path as to lose weight, yes, but also to avoid or improve symptoms from metabolic syndrome ailments. Things like high blood pressure or hypertension, high cholesterol and high triglycerides or hyperlipidemia, high blood sugars or diabetes, and many other things like thyroid issues, polycystic ovary syndrome for the ladies, sleep apnea, and acid reflux disease or GERD. So many of us have operated under the classic notion of calories in versus calories out when it comes to weight management or weight loss. It's all simply about calories. We actually have a new understanding of that now, and we know it's not quite so simple because not every calorie is created equal in terms of its influence on our metabolism. Let me ask you one thing to start. If you didn't eat any food, say for 24 hours or a good part of the day, would you fall over and die? Would you pass out? No, of course not. You might be a little bit grumpy or edgy, but you'd be fine as long as you were staying hydrated and drinking water. So if you haven't consumed any calories or energy, where is your energy coming from? And let me take you over here to a chart to show you what I'm talking about. And by the way, the most popular response to that is people say it's coming from your fat. Well, I want to explain this to you because it's not quite so simple there again. We created this chart here to help you understand that our body has three fuel tanks, as we call them, of stored energy. And the body always starts with what we call the primary tank, and that is glycogen, which is basically stored sugar or glucose, which is handled inside of your muscles and your liver. So that's the primary energy tank. When you fall short on your calories for the day, your body's pretty much always going to go to glycogen first for that quick acting sugar. So we want to get to burning fat, we have to get through the glycogen. How do we do that? We do what we do here on the program. We're going to feed you low calorie, of course. You're not eating enough energy in the day, your body's going to resort to that primary tank. Now this is the first week. You'll be breaking through that glycogen because you're not eating enough. But what we're going to do is restrict your carbohydrates or sugars, right? Because all carbohydrates become sugar inside the body. So we're low calorie, low carb. That allows us to break through this glycogen tank. If you were not careful with your diet, maybe you ate a little less, you ran a little more that day or worked out harder, you might empty part of your glycogen, but if you went and ate sugars or carbs, guess what? The body's designed to refill that glycogen store. So that's how we get past it. We carefully control your calories and your carbs, which will allow us to break through the bottom of the glycogen tank. Then your body will turn to the backup energy tanks where we store energy in both our muscle tissue and in our fat tissue. Now some critical points here. The body does not know at this point that you just want to target your fat tank. It's going to break both of these down simultaneously at the same rate. That's how our body's designed. So it's very critical that we preserve your muscle. Why? It's not just because muscle looks good and you can impress people by lifting heavy things. The critical part about muscle is that it's also the engine behind our metabolism. What do we mean by that is the more muscle you have on your body, the higher your metabolic rate or the higher your caloric demand. Because muscle, even when you're not flexing it or using it, it's a caloric demanding tissue. It takes more calories just to stay alive. Now this is a note where you can realize why men by nature can eat more than women and not gain weight typically. And you don't like us, you hate us because we actually lose weight faster than you. Well, now you know why, right? Because we have more muscle in our body by design. So it's critical that we preserve that muscle to keep your metabolism burning bright. And another key point is, let's think of important muscles inside of our body. How about something like our heart, right? Critical organ in our body, and it is largely a muscle. So I'm not saying that this is the only way to lose weight. There are many ways to lose weight. You could even starve yourself. But if you end up losing too much muscle in the process, not doing it properly, you'll slow down your metabolism, which makes you gain weight after you're done quicker. And if you do it long enough and hard enough in the wrong way, you can even hurt some of your precious organs. So we have to be careful to low carb, low calorie, empty your sugar tank, get you down here, and then we have to protect your muscle with the right quality of protein and the right amount of protein. How do we accomplish that with our program? All of our foods that we have here are complete proteins or whole proteins. They're protein isolates. Now, to be a complete protein or whole protein, it must contain all of the essential amino acids. Right? Amino acids are the building blocks of protein. The essential, anything that's essential in nutrition means we must consume it. Our body cannot synthesize or create it. So our foods are special because they're very low calorie, low carb, low sugar, low fat, and they're packed full of superfood levels of those essential amino acids. So with minimal impact on your diet and your caloric intake, we can give maximum nutrition to support your muscle. So we empty this sugar tank, we protect your muscle by how we feed you, and then your fat tank becomes your only tank left for those missing calories in your day. You will become a fat-burning machine just by how we control your macronutrients. When you get there, I want you to take note. You'll get a caloric boost. Every 1 gram of glycogen, sugar, glucose is about 4 kilocalories. When you go to muscle or protein, again, 1 gram is 4 kilocalories. Now fat, when you start to consume that, it delivers over twice the caloric energy at 9 calories per gram. So you'll get a caloric boost after you go through that first rough week or so. And also at that point, when you're going to start burning your fat, what happens is your fat actually gets sent to your liver and becomes ketones, and those ketones get sent around as your alternative fuel source. The majority of your body prefers ketones for fuel over sugar or protein or fat. But when you do that, you're going into ketosis, and that's when this becomes a ketogenic diet, right? Because your fat's being converted to ketones, and you're using that as your primary fuel. When that happens, you also will appreciate a natural appetite suppressant. So again, empty, protect, then you start burning your fat tank. You have a nice appetite suppressant, a little caloric boost, and it's a lot easier to stay in that sweet spot, that fat burning zone, because of all of those measures. So next part, I want to talk about what's really behind all of this. And at this point, I really want to get into talking about hormones. Because, and when I'm talking about hormones, I'm talking about your metabolic hormones, not your sex hormones like estrogen and testosterone, but metabolic hormones. And when we talk about these, there's really 2 major players. We call them master metabolic hormones. Number 1 is, we've all heard of it because of the prevalence of diabetes today, and that's insulin. Insulin is one of the masters of our metabolism, and there's one that does the exact opposites of insulin, and it is called glucagon. Insulin and glucagon are the 2 master hormones with our metabolism, and they're on a seesaw or a teeter-totter. There can be balance between the 2 hormones in our body, and there can be imbalance where one is dominant and the other one is suppressed, either way. So on the standard American diet, we end up having a bad imbalance there, and I'm going to get into that in a second. But first, let me explain how it works. When we eat carbs or sugar, right, our blood sugars, glucose in our blood levels rise. Now, of course, our body can use glucose for energy, but oftentimes on that standard American diet, what are we eating? Lots of processed foods, refined processed sugars, carbs, starches, grains, sweet drinks, coffee's loaded with sugar, even our electrolyte waters like Gatorade full of sugar, all these things. We're constantly having all this sugar and our blood sugar levels are high. So insulin is coming out, it's becoming dominant, and it has to take out that sugar and make it more of a homeostasis, healthy amount of sugar inside of our blood. So it's got 2 options when it takes it out of the blood. Option number 1 is the more healthy option. It'll take the extra sugar out and store it inside of our muscles and our liver, and that stored sugar is what? It's our primary backup energy tank, that glycogen tank. But again, on that standard American diet, when we're rich in carbs and sugars, that glycogen tank is virtually almost always full because it's got a finite amount of storage space in that tank. Consider it a little steel box. Once you've got it full, no more will go in there. So as we continue on down this standard American diet, fighting this chronically high blood sugar, there's only one place left to go for insulin. Insulin takes that extra sugar out, no space in the glycogen tank, so it goes the only spot left. It becomes the key to unlocking our fat cells and stuffing all that extra sugar inside of our fat cells. Now, storage space in our fat cells is virtually unlimited because the fat cells will stretch as we continue to eat not just too many calories, but more importantly, the wrong kind of calories. and those fat cells will stretch and stretch and stretch to accommodate all that extra sugar in our blood. So that's how we end up packing on all the body fat. The next part that I will touch on briefly again is metabolic syndrome or syndrome X. We're talking about, yes, a high body fat percentage, but then hypertension or high blood pressure, high cholesterol, high triglycerides or hyperlipidemia, high blood sugars, prediabetes, diabetes, things like polycystic ovary syndrome, thyroid issues are in there, sleep apnea, acid reflux disease, GERD, and on. So these things again are oftentimes tied to a couple of common causing factors. Dr. Gerald Reaven, he's the one who coined the term syndrome X because of the 4 points of an X. He knew there was a correlation between high body fat percentage, high blood pressure, hypertension, hyperlipidemia, the cholesterol and the triglycerides, and the high blood sugars. And he made the discovery that it was 2 common causing factors behind all of these things. Hyperinsulinemia, which means your body's overproducing insulin, and then insulin resistance. Your body's tissues are no longer responding to that hormone signal, the insulin hormone signal, the way it used to. So your body's not clearing out the blood sugar as well as it used to, and the pancreas becomes a little dysfunctional and starts to overproduce even more insulin, and our metabolism is all out of whack. So we know that yes, behind managing our weight and behind a lot of these metabolic syndrome ailments, it really comes down to too much insulin production in our body, and then the body stops working as well as it used to with that hormone signal, insulin resistance. So instead of treating symptoms one by one with hypertension, high cholesterol, high blood sugars, or you're too fat, try running on a treadmill or eat less food, we can go underneath all of that and realize what's behind all of this. Too much insulin and our body's not working with it so well anymore. What's the main driver behind all this insulin production in our body? Too much carb or sugar in our diet, really. Processed foods, processed sugars. So if we change that, go underneath those and change our diet and our lifestyle, we can influence all of these things simultaneously. So this is more of a hormone diet, your metabolism hormones, and it's not that we give you hormones, it's not that we have you run marathons. We're going to control your diet and your lifestyle and teach you new ways to eat to accomplish this. So with all that being said, how do we help you here at Ideal Protocol? First off, we look at the big picture, and there's 2 parts to this in terms of weight management and health. There's the weight loss, and then there's the weight maintenance. Which of these 2 is more difficult? And that's easy. It's definitely weight maintenance, or keeping your weight off that you lose when you're on the program, and staying healthy. Staying healthy and lean is the hard part, and that's our primary focus here. We're passionate about it. We have daily coach contact. We're reaching out to you, all of our dieters, every day. We're sending out articles, videos, quotes. We have weekly one-on-one coaching sessions where we're going to do circumferential measurements of different parts of your body. We're going to do digital body weight. We're going to use our industry leader body composition scanning scale. It'll tell you things like, of course, your weight, your BMI, your body fat percentage, an estimate at your metabolic age, and on. Lots of really important factors that we can see in there. So we have weekly progress reports that we'll have for you as well. We are 100% committed to your success, and we're all about that. We want to provide the ultimate in support and guidance, and more so education, so we can empower you with the knowledge to continue to make the right decisions after the structured program, because that's the only way you're going to succeed with your weight maintenance and your health in the long run. So if this all sounds like the solution you've been searching for and it could be a right fit for you, please don't hesitate to contact us right now to figure out how to get involved. We'd love to have you on board with our team. You can find us at our website, more information, testimonials, before and after pictures at www.idealprotocol.com, or you can always call us directly in our clinics at 916-781-3322. Thank you so much for taking the time to see our video here, and we hope to hear from you soon.